I'm back at Download Festival. I'm under the main stage. Some of you may remember that a couple of years ago I came to Download Festival and I did a ghost hunt. Now I'm back with a haunted object. So I think this dog may be haunted, and I've returned it to its spiritual home to find out exactly what is wrong with it, what is haunting this dog. I'm not quite sure what she thought she had stumbled across, but if you imagine Download Festival, a very far cry from those tranquil Georgian days. I did some research and I did a little bit of deep diving into the history of who these ghosts could be, and I have traced them back to Donington Hall, and he was in fact a very keen fox hunter, and he did actually have kennels full of dogs. So I'm thinking potentially the spirit of one of those dogs is perhaps entrapped somehow inside this Download dog. I'm back at Download Festival. I'm under the main stage. Some of you may remember that a couple of years ago I came to Download Festival and I did a ghost hunt. Now I'm back with a haunted object. This Download dog has been causing all kinds of problems. And when I say all kinds of problems, I found this dog in a dusty box in my basement. I actually do not have a clue where this dog actually came from. 2 years ago was the first time I came to Download Festival, and I found this dog in a dusty box in my basement. And ever since I took this dog out, very, very strange things have started to happen. I placed it on my bookshelf. It has completely moved and was facing a completely different direction. So I think this dog may be haunted, and I've returned it to its spiritual home to find out exactly what is wrong with it, what is haunting this dog. A couple of years ago when I was ghost hunting, I experienced two rather fascinating ghosts. One was George, who was an avid fox hunter. He was rather pompous with a big moustache, on horseback, riding across the fields near the avalanche stage. I also picked up on his wife, who's called Barbara. Barbara was wearing a beautiful flowing white gown, and she had upturned curls and was actually very stunning, but she was also quite disgruntled, I think is the word. I'm not quite sure what she thought she had stumbled across, but if you imagine Download Festival, a very far cry from those tranquil Georgian days. So those are the two ghosts that I encountered last time I was at Download. I think this dog is in some way connected to those two ghosts, because ever since he's come out of my basement, I have been having very strange flashbacks of that ghost hunt and of those two Georgian ghosts, in particular the packs of hounds, because George actually, I did some research and I did a little bit of deep diving into the history of who these ghosts could be, and I have traced them back to Donington Hall. Now geographically, Donington Hall is exactly that way, and those ghosts, George used to live at Donington Hall with his wife Barbara, and he was in fact a very keen fox hunter, and he did actually have kennels full of dogs. So I'm thinking potentially the spirit of one of those dogs is perhaps entrapped somehow inside this Download dog bobblehead. Now he's very, very calm. I've actually velcroed him down to stop him moving across this box, because he has been known to slide even when the box is in one position. And of course there are hundreds of crosses, because he may bite, so we have to all protect ourselves from this little entity that is inside here. I thought it could be quite fun to pull out the spirit rods one more time. I am under the main stage, and there's also, I'm digressing because there's a lot of information in my head, but there is also a theory that heavy metal music opens portals to other dimensions. So we're under the main stage. No one has graced this stage yet, not this year anyway, but we're going to see if we can pick up and find out any more information about this dog. So we're going to do a little spirit rod session and see what I pick up, if anything. It's quite a windy day, so I'm not sure if this is going to be the world's most accurate spirit rod session, but I'll try and make it as authentic as possible, and if I feel like the wind is taking them, maybe we'll have to scrap that idea. But let's bring out the spirit rods and ask the dog a few questions and see what I get. So I'm just going to shake these off. This could be completely obsolete because it's very, very windy. And as you can see, actually no, that's fine. As you know with spirit rods, when they cross, it means yes, and when they part, it means no. And I'm going to hold these as close to the box as humanly possible, bearing in mind that I can't really put that on my lap and hold these. So, is there a spirit entity trapped inside this download dog? Yes. Is this entity the spirit of an actual dog who once used to live at Donington Hall? A slow yes. I mean, I am going to point out what many of you may be thinking. It is a little bit windy. There is a little bit of a breeze in the air. So bear that in mind. I just got the name Tommy Tattle. That's really cool, like they're sort of crossing on their own. Is Tommy Tattle a dog? That's quite cool. Is Tommy Tattle excited for download 2026? That's a really slow yes. Come on. I hope he is. I feel like it's really strange because obviously I'm crouched down on the floor under the stage, but I'm trying to do this and it is ridiculously windy, so I'm just not sure how to navigate around doing a ghost hunt down here. But I do have a really strange, like vivid apparition of a dog, and this is quite a different apparition from the pack of hounds that I saw racing across the fields a couple of years ago. This is a dog sitting next to his master, but his master, I think this is like the family dog of George, but I don't think it's one of his hounds that was in the kennels. I think it's like potentially like his parents' dog. It's his childhood dog. This dog grew up with him and he had a fondness towards this dog, not like his kind of multiple dogs that he used to use for fox hunting. So that is what I think is haunting this dog. I'm going to carry on with the spirit rods and ask a few questions. Are you a negative energy? No, I don't think he is. Like, he's a playful energy, I would suggest. Are you a playful energy? Not quite sure about that. I wonder, is this haunted dog going to come home with me? The physical dog is going to come home with me because I don't think I can get away with potentially burying it under the stage. But is the haunting going to stay at Donington Park? Is the hound that's inside here going to return to its spiritual home and dance across the fields and potentially return back to Donington Hall? Or is it going to come home with me and sit on my mantelpiece and cause me havoc? That remains to be seen. I think we should kind of let the spirit be. I mean, it's been slightly mischievous, nothing too terrifying to be honest. It just moves a lot, particularly when heavy metal music is playing, particularly when Kiss is playing. So this is definitely a heavy metal dog. This is definitely a download dog. This is definitely a haunted object, in my opinion. I think you can sense these things. I think you can pick up on these energy fields. I think there is a feeling and there is an energy attached to this, whether you believe that the dog is haunted or not. But it's pretty cool to be here under the stage. I'm gonna kind of, quite sure whether I'm gonna take this dog around with me this weekend. But I feel kind of cool that I've got a few answers to a few questions, and again, it's things that I'm personally sensing rather than relying on things like spirit rods and stuff. It's not necessarily my thing or my cup of tea, but I like to bring them out because sometimes when you say, oh, I see an apparition of a dog running across a field. Now, you're watching this, you can't see what I see, you're not here, you can't feel any kind of energy, so it's a very difficult thing to potentially describe to someone who is not here with me. I thought it would be cool to at least do something that actually orchestrated a yes or a no. But again, very windy, breezy conditions. But again, they weren't actually, it's not like they were going like this all the time. So I think there's a little bit of conclusivity in that little experiment. So, from me and from him, I wonder if he's going to cause any more havoc this weekend. But for now, for me and from him, it is good night. I'm wanting him to move. I'm wanting him to like levitate and bark and bite. But I think that is a little bit too much to ask potentially. But